Hey, and welcome to Lemon Drops, brought to you by the Smoky Lemon crew. Well, we're talking branding, marketing, and everything in between. So grab a coffee, sit back, and let's drop in. Welcome along to our next edition of Lemon Drops, a special podcast guest with me today. I've got Kris Rasmussen, Professionals Real Estate Principal. Hi, Kris.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Actually, hard case for you, but nostalgic coming back into the Smoky Lemon HQ building.
Yes, it is.
Because this was your building once upon a time.
Yeah, started my career here. So when was that? 2004 that we were here. So yeah, it is nostalgic for me. It's changed a little bit, but still the same.
Yeah. So you started as an agent and then took over as principal. When did you take over?
Yes, I started as a salesperson in 2004, May 2004. So I'll be 21 years this year. And then I took over as principal in July 2012.
Right, okay. And your new premise now?
Yes, and we went over there, I think about 2009 we went over there. So yeah, we've been there a little while.
Yeah. So, well, it's great to have you along today. And we thought we'd just podcast about real estate, but obviously professionals as a whole. And you have some great learnings you do with your staff and some things you stand by. So let's run through some of those. Yep. So, like what I've known Kris, well, we've known each other all our lives, essentially. Our mums are friends.
Yes.
But, I know that you always have a unique philosophy in your leadership style, and you're committed to innovation, and you do a lot of community engagement as well, professionally and personally.
Yes.
So let's start with your motto, Dare to be Different.
Right. Yes.
So what's that? That's quite inspiring.
Yeah, dare to be different. I mean, for us, it's around always looking to keep ahead, seeing what's next out there. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Is something that we talk about, and fail fast. Because if you do have a go at something and then it doesn't work, then just pivot and go again. So I think that keeps you ahead. And the industry, it's changed so much over my 20 years, and it's changing faster and faster. So for us, it's around keeping ahead, and that innovation is a big thing for us.
And knowing when to pivot.
Yeah, that's right. And pivot and try that. We've got a really good team that I bounce a lot off. There's some ideas that they tell me no, which is probably good. But others, we grab hold of it and we have a go. Sometimes they're like, let's just have a crack at that and see how that goes. And some work really well. Yeah,
that's a sign of a good listener, a good leader that will listen to their staff when they say no to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's not just my salespeople, it's my admin staff as well, my marketing team, all of those guys. Everyone has a voice, and I'm just a cog in the wheel. Yes, I am the principal, but really that's just my part within the team.
Yeah. So the whole importance of challenging status quo, which you emphasise. Yeah. What is an example of how you've done that within the company, with your innovation?
Well, I guess started digital is big. Yeah. So we've been big on that. We did our first video, I looked at this a little while ago. It was about August 2015.
Like an agent video.
Yeah, we did that first.
This house.
Yeah. Don't look up YouTube and don't look at that. My God.
Well, we do look forward to the bloopers, really.
But that was something else. Yeah. But I guess the thing about that is it evolves and you get better at it. And so video now is an essential thing.
Of course.
In fact, if you don't have video, and there's videos and videos too. There's videos where people do a video or the visual of the property and there's nice music.
Like a virtual walk.
Yeah, and I'm like, what's that really tell you? You might as well be a slideshow.
That's right.
To be honest, with some nice music.
Yeah.
So for us in video now, making sure we're speaking over the video to talk about the property, asking some key questions to try and target market. But just as important now, or even more important, because of the out of town people that are looking in on Taranaki, because we're a great place to live.
Of course.
Yeah. It's actually talking about the area.
Yeah, right.
What does it mean to live at that property? What does that area have? So
what's around it?
Yeah, that's right. So if you're not speaking around it on that side of it, you don't get to communicate that to those out of town buyers. And sorry, a lot of the times out of town buyers will pay more money. Yeah. So for your vendor, you need to do that properly.
And because you're quite big on your agents being in the videos too, because it's all good for their branding.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all marketing, and then people get to hear you and maybe go, actually, I connect with that agent. So if they want to look to sell their their property or going through the buying process, they could say, hey, I feel better with a female agent or with a male agent or that particular agent. And that's the great thing with our team. So video was massive. 3D, which is the Matterport. Virtual tours that we do. That was me going to a conference in New York. Head office.
Shame.
I know, head office sent me to that one, so I was pretty stoked about that, to be honest. But we went to it's called an Inman conference, and over there was the Matterport 3D camera, and I was so taken by it. I'm like, I want one of these.
Yeah.
So they were worth a bit of money. Yeah. So I researched a bit more and ended up pretty much bringing one back with me. I didn't, but got the process going. And when I first brought that to the market in 2017 or whatever it was.
You were one of the first.
Yeah, we were the first agency in New Zealand to own one.
Wow.
So we still own one today.
Yeah.
But we would run through. I remember the opposition talking about, you wouldn't want that in your marketing because then people know how to rob your house.
Oh.
Things like that were coming back, but that was just, and I guess when you're on the edge and doing those things, you get that.
Yes.
Same with video. People were like,
the bounce back.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
But that's just how that the industry has evolved.
Yeah. Any houses been robbed from Metaports?
No.
For the record?
No, for the record, none. Actually, we've never had that.
No.
21 years, I've never known, no property's ever been robbed.
From what they've seen inside.
No.
Yeah. Which is interesting because sometimes they could be a vacant property as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Gosh, we could
might do nothing.
Nothing in a vacant one, I guess.
No.
Yeah. So personal development. This is huge. Yeah. This is a cornerstone of your business. You really invest in your your agents.
Agents, yes.
For personal development and yourself. You're continuously developing yourself.
Yeah, training's massive. Like we just did training. So 10 a.m. every Wednesday in the office. We have a boardroom and that training happens for the teams. I've just finished that and then come here. But going to conferences is super important. Personal development is massively important for me because I think even going to a conference, sometimes it's just, we've just had our conference and a couple of the agents that went and they're like, we'll go. And then the first speaker spoke and they're like, I'd forgotten to talk to my vendors about that.
Right.
And it's just that one thing. So constantly learning, yes, but also being reminded of what you can do. We even do now, I used to make them read a book every year. So we did each chapter, read a book.
A book on anything or really?
No, it was normally a business book or a self-help book.
Yeah.
I'm pretty particular on that.
Yeah.
But they would read a chapter and then in Tuesday's meeting, which is our sales meeting, they would give them the 2 points.
Okay.
Now, it's hard. We started doing like a Richard Branson one and all of those, but then some of them you could see were getting bored and maybe our attention spans a little bit less this day and age. Yeah. So what we're doing now is podcasts.
Right. Oh, hello.
Yeah, hello, yeah. So what happens is that each team member, so the salespeople, all our admin, will have a turn. They put the podcast in our group, and then we've got to listen to that podcast over the week.
Yes.
And then on the Tuesday's meeting, we talk about what we got out of that podcast.
Well, hello to your team that's probably listening to this right now.
When it's my turn, I'll make them listen to this one. What did you learn out of it? So that's been really good. So that there's lots of different things we've learned about because of that, rather than just reading that book. But that training and improving yourself and being better and asking ourselves, are we the best we can be? And how do we be better? How do we be better?
Because as a human, you're like that anyway.
That's right. Yeah, I want to be better and want to help and do what I can do.
Yeah, and you've always been good at what you've done though.
Yeah, thank you.
One of those people.
Yeah.
So how do you balance, like in a constant evolving industry like real estate, how do you balance like embracing change while still maintaining like stability for your team and clients?
So real estate's super basic.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, where some people fail. They try and complicate it too much.
Right.
So first thing, just be exceptional at the basics.
Yeah.
Absolutely exceptional at it.
So when you say basics, you buy and sell houses, right?
But just everything, calling back, just the basics. Yeah. Do what you say you're going to do. I don't know, if you've been to an open home and you go there and then you sign in and you do what you need to do and then you don't get a phone call.
Right, whereas you should be.
I'm like, are you joking me? Like if we're not getting a cup, we'll ring twice. If there's no answer, we'll text.
Yeah.
Like there should be that. That's a basic.
Otherwise it's left on the table, isn't it?
Yeah, and you're working for your vendor and you need to ensure that you do that. So being exceptional at the basics is a real big thing as well. And then communication. Massive communication. So whether it's meetings with me every week or our monthly where we go out, and again with our clients as well, just over communicate. You
Do you
know.
still do caravanning? Is it called caravanning?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, on a Tuesday after our sales meeting, we shoot out and do the caravan. So we go and have a look at all the new properties. It's good. It's good for the team. You kind of understand the properties. You can tell your buyers about it, which is ultimately what it's about. That you do that, but you can also pick up little things that there might be. I don't know, some painting that could help, or something like that you haven't noticed yourself, and the team brings it up. So you talk to your vendor.
Sure.
The next thing, the handyman in the house is like, "Sweet, I'll get that done tonight," and it just makes it look better. So it's everybody's opinion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then the vendor would feel like they've got this whole team working for them too.
Absolutely. And team is the big thing that we push on. Massive.
Because you can. There's no like you only sell what you list or anything like that.
No, absolutely not. And the way we split our commission is so that we're set up that everybody wants to sell each other's listings.
Nice.
Because they get paid fairly for that.
Yeah.
And I think that's super important, where some other agencies, and that's their business, they're not here to dog anybody.
No.
But they have it set up so highly for the listing agent that no one wants to sell it to each other's properties because they're not going to get paid.
That's right.
And we're all 100% commission based. That's the reality. So that can kind of work in reverse, and that's not the way we want to be.
No, absolutely. So we've touched on how you're very good at empowering your team, and that's something you're really passionate about. So what specific steps do you do to support like growth and development within your agents or your team?
Yeah, a couple of things. We firstly I set business plans with them to do that, so they can make sure they're working not just in the business but on the business. I meet every week with each one of my agents to talk about what's happening with each property, because then I can help coach and guide and mentor and give an opinion, I suppose, whether they like it or not. But I can help them with that, because that's beneficial for both the vendors and the buyers. So we do that once a month. I take them out for lunch, and that's where we really focus on working on the business, not just in the business,
right?
So that they can, because they are a business, so that they can actually grow their own business and be better at what they can do. So I think that's important. And then we do things like training. So with the commission that comes in, we've just actually introduced this, where we put a percentage of the commission. We take that to the side and put in what we call a training fund.
Okay, yeah.
So we're now funding that. So the company and the agent is funding a training fund for them. So that will get them to conferences. You know, they will. Because it's like anything, I don't know about you, but the more money you get, the more money you spend. Yes. Right? So if you get that money, you just naturally spend that money. Yeah,
that's right, yeah.
Where that money, so if that money's gone to the side as in a training fund, then basically when it comes to conferences, we can pay for the conference, the flights, the accommodation. ARIC is a big international conference, and a couple of them would love to go to again. We've been there before.
This is in America?
No, this is the one in Australia.
Right, yeah.
Gold Coast. So that will be something we'll be able to help fund and do that, which will help.
And then come the time, you're not like, I got to sell a house before I can afford it.
That's right. Or, life's life, and, cost of living so high that we're all experiencing, that they just can't do that. And then they're starting to not be the best they can in their business.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good example. Yeah. So when it comes to like your client-centric approach, Professionals Real Estate is known for delivering wow service. And your clients do rave about it. They obviously do. So do you have an example of like how your team achieves that level of customer satisfaction?
One, communication.
Yeah.
Review as well, I think, is a big one. So we use Rate My Agent, which is an independent and verified platform. So we get information back from that. We do like principal calls, where I'll call the people just to see how things go. Or when they've listed, or those things. So effectively for us, it's making sure communication, I think if you do that well, you'd be good. And we do things like we set up like a messenger group or a WhatsApp group, and it might be yourself and your husband, Rog. Because if I phone call you and say, this is what's happening and this is what's happened, ships in the night, he's busy, you're busy.
I've got to remember to
that's right. Chinese whispers, you got it all bloody wrong. Where, in video being such a big thing, I'll often just take a video of myself. This is what's going on. I use my hands a lot, as you can see. Sorry, team. But, if I take a video, they get the tone of voice, they get everything else, and we can bang that in the group. You might see it now, if you're able to look at it, but Roger's out working and doesn't get home till 7 o'clock at night. He can then look at it then, and he's as up to date with the information.
And the same info. Yeah, that makes sense.
And that, I think, we've introduce that with everyone, and that's super important. All the decision makers are in there. You know, even with estates that happen, you know, we work with the executors, but sometimes the beneficiaries are in there because it's family anyway, right?
Of course.
And they want to know what's going on.
Yeah, and it's a volatile time for them. Yeah.
Have ones that are people in Australia, America, wherever they are. And then I've got to make sure I have my phone on silent at night because they're replying. Yeah, which is great. Get up in the morning and I can answer them.
Brilliant. Yeah,
which is cool.
Okay, so it's that communication.
Yeah, biggest thing ever.
Awesome. Okay, and I think just touching on how you talked about a video then too, the tone is right there because it's so easy to read a wrong tone in a message when it's just words.
Well, we've all texted our partner something and they've come back and you're like, whoa, what's happened here? You know, and then you kind of read, okay, I kind of see where you come from, but that's not what I mean.
Speaking from personal experience.
Yeah, probably. Many relationships in my life.
You know, you're really good at ensuring that clients feel empowered to make those decisions about their real estate.
Yeah, that's giving them all of that information. A communication, again, I know I'm banging on about it, but that's the big thing. Yeah, and even, so depending on different markets. So at the moment, we're a bit more in a buyer's market, right? So we actually need to do more vendor management.
Right.
So that means more time with the vendor. So for me, every 3 weeks minimum, sitting in front of them, over the dining table communicating that. That's on top of all the videos that I've done, like after the open home, feedback, just after any private appointment.
So is this just for your listings or for your other agents?
No, agents, because I've coached and trained them. I've coached and trained and mentor a lot of new people coming through. So they all kind of do that same process, most of them. Look, some don't, and that's okay. They're their own businesses, and they can. But it's something that we installed and it works. And it's worked real well for me.
Why break it?
Yeah, exactly right. And if you look at like my agent reviews, they talk a lot about the communication. Because I think in any relationship, whether it's business, personal, whatever it might be, that is the number one.
100%. Yeah. I think all our partners would agree.
Yeah.
So look, now giving back to the community, like this is something that's massive for you, massive for professionals. And so what are some of those initiatives? Like I've been involved in a few of them with you, but you know, the floor is yours.
Oh, well, look, our main one is child cancer that we do personally. So that's for professionals, and that's nationwide. I think it's 5.5 million's been raised for them.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's big. But we've done, for a lot of time, even in your previous life, you know, in the radio world, you know, we did those breakfast auctioneer, breakfast with the cocktails and canopies. We did a movie night. Was doing the drive-through barbecue. You know, that we do.
And it rained both times.
Oh, yeah.
Quiz nights.
Yeah, we're doing quiz night this time. So we try and do something different. We try and engage the community. We've got a great community, you know, like people give to us, you know, like when it came to that drive-through barbecue, all the money went to child cancer because Kiwi Butcher come in and he did all the meat. You know, then there was Deb and Pete Melody at Pack and Save, and they did everything else.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so all we had to do was kind of coordinate it, stand out in the rain, and FPOS Taranaki gave us the FPOS machine, and you name it, it comes in. And we kind of, that's what we experience all the time. A little bit harder this time because money's a bit tighter, so we're trying to do this quiz one at the moment, but people are still giving.
But I think what that also comes down to is you are always the first person to say yes because you're an auctioneer as well. And you are always giving your time to auction for charity events, and I've worked closely with you with the Taranaki Women's Refuge, the runway for years. I've seen you at the emergency services ball when everyone bailed early and went for supper, and you still got money out of the room. It's unbelievable. Like, you're a machine at that, and so you know that's why people love to have you, but you're so good at giving your time.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I have actually taken a little break this year. A couple I have said no to, which was kind of hard.
Would have been.
It was actually really hard, but I had a couple of things on, actually, family things overseas, which kind of coordinated. But even then, I felt guilty. But yeah, we do. That's part of us giving back, and the reason I got my auctioneer's license, we actually don't do a lot of auctions property wise. I've done a few. Don't get me wrong, and when I think properties best suited for auction,
Then
then
you-
absolutely promote it, and we will do it. But for me, it was actually more about how I could give back to the community, and that's part of our core values at Professionals is our community give back.
For sure.
So whether that's us as a company doing that, my team does it, getting in behind it, they do their own stuff. So our Waitara branch with Sarah and Sam they do a huge amount. I think they just did the Easter egg hunt.
Yes.
That's massive. They do
the
Halloween.
stuff.
Yeah. We do the Christmas parade both here in New Plymouth, and then we go out to Waitara and do it there.
Superheroes.
Yeah, superheroes in real estate.
Yeah.
So, we just try and do that. We just try and give back.
Yeah, and I think, that's what I was saying before, like, because you give back, people were happy to give to you too.
Yeah, which is
Both
awesome.
ways.
Yeah, it is. And it's interesting. You go and see those people about it, and they're like, what are you doing, and how do we help?
Yeah, that's
which
right.
is cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very deserved, though, too.
Thank you.
So, Kris, if you could give, one piece of advice to someone aspiring to be a real estate agent,
Yes.
what would that be? Communication?
But absolutely one of them. Just be exceptional at the basics. So what you would need to do there is you really need to get around someone, get coached, mentored, trained by somebody. Make sure they have really good systems. Like to the point, my systems, particularly my new guys, they hate it. They got to tick a box
Right, yeah.
for every step that they do because
Accountability.
and it's preventable errors.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like those things. There shouldn't be an error there. You should have got that right. So it's around doing that. So I'm very particular around that because, for people selling their home, particularly, this is their biggest asset.
It is.
It is their biggest asset. So most of the time.
Yeah.
So, you need to not make any mistakes. So you get really exceptional at the basics, get a good mentor and coach to help you, dive into training the best you can, and talk to the more senior agents. There's a lot of good senior agents out there in all the companies that are really good people.
Yeah.
I know most of them personally.
They've had experience.
They are, and there's enough business for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm not about that.
Yeah.
But get with those people and talk to them and learn, be a sponge.
For sure.
If they tell you to go and do that, go and do it. Because even if you don't understand why, do it and you'll learn.
Yeah, well, an example of that is one of your agents has been a complete sponge of tips you've given them.
Yes.
And there's the whole like flyer drops and
Yes,
everything
yeah.
and all that old school stuff. And he's got listings where he's doing his flyer drops.
Yeah, and he's doing really well, And I said to him, what do you put your success down to? And he just said, I just did what you told me to do, And then he's put his own thing on it, but within the short period that he's done, he's done a great job and got a really successful business, runs a PA now, good on him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Where did you, like, growing up, you've had a few different roles and you've always worked hard and you've always earned your place in this world.
Yes.
Was being a real estate agent always something you considered?
No, not really, because I actually, I started as a courier driver, so I thought that was really good. You were up at 5 o'clock. As much as people think courier drivers just put your shades on, cruise around town. You're at 5 o'clock. You were packed in a van. It was Monday including Saturday mornings. So hard work was just normal for me. My whole family has been as hard workers, so that's probably you don't fall far from the tree.
Yeah, for sure. And they're givers too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's important. And then from there, I ended up going from New Zealand Couriers into banking, of all things, and got my way through there in banking and ended up a bank manager for TSB Bank in Fitzroy branch, so not far from here.
Yeah.
And that was great. I spent a couple of years there. What I really enjoyed was helping people in to their homes.
As a bank manager?
Yeah. It was a real cool sense of achievement.
Yeah.
So that was fantastic. So kind of one step from that was doing the real estate side of it. And, I'll never forget my first sale, and what I felt. And even to today, I still do a bit of selling.
Yeah.
I'm a bit more selective on who I work for. Don't get me wrong, so my time, but I still have that great sense of achievement. It still gets me, and the people I see in the supermarket or whatever that you've helped, man, it's cool.
You're always a part of their lives, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And if you're, I call it clients for life. If you're with that client that they've bought their first home, then they've grown and maybe they've gone to a family home and they might buy an investment and then they're going to go down. I've started to see people that I've helped all the way along.
Wow, yeah.
And it's cool. It's great. And now I'm helping their kids. A friend of mine rang me and, who's a good mortgage broker? So I put them onto a mortgage broker. And then they rang me up and they said, thanks so much. He's just bought his first house.
How amazing.
How cool.
Yeah, and that's your mate's kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Okay, so for those that aren't familiar, Kris, how would you describe what makes professionals real estate different from other real estate companies?
Probably one of the biggest things for us is digital marketing.
Yeah.
So we've done that for a long time. We have Taranaki's #1 free digital marketing package because I believe in it so much that you can't miss on any of that.
Yeah.
Talked about video being so massive, so that's a big part. Professional photography that we have Roger do, to the 3D, through to promoting on Facebook and social media. And as much as we're all like, some people are like, don't even have it.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't mean that's not where your buyer's sitting.
Good answer.
All of those things. So we work on that. And then the other thing for us that's, and I'm not going to say it's unique, but what works super well for us is team.
Yeah.
So whether that's our admin staff, so, we've got some great admin staff in the office. So right from them, right through to our PAs, to our sales team, through to everybody, that we work as a team super well, like, even to the point we're going out on caravan and they're talking about a buyer and they're like, you deal with them. How do you get on with them? And that's giving up commission potentially. So that's a big thing.
But that shows how much of a team you are, right? Because it's not like
about that.
Fight, we're going to take it to Kris. Or,
that's right.
Yeah.
I don't have any of that kind of issue anymore at all.
It's quite big.
It's massive.
Yeah.
And it makes my job a whole lot easier. So then I can focus on what's next instead of worrying about squabbles.
Yeah.
I can work on that. And so team is massive.
Great. So, Kris, tell us, how are first-time buyers navigating today's market, and what advice would you give them?
Yeah, first-time buyer. I love first-time buyers. If they can get on that property, I call it the property train, because then up and down, change over. I think that's fantastic. Being KiwiSaver, that's a big. That has been huge. People that use it, you'll be able to use that for your first home, which I think's massive.
Yeah.
And doing that, get a good team around you. So have a talk to a solicitor, have a mortgage broker. Like, mortgage brokers can do a fantastic job. They don't just deal with one bank; they go to several, or they'll help you if you're not quite there, what you need to do. But even to the point that, mortgage brokers we use, the interest rate will change slightly, and now they have a better budget.
Right, yeah.
Or now they can go to another bank and get a better deal, so they're not just stopping there, and they're paid for by the banks, which is great. Always get a builder's report,
just
to understand it.
Yeah.
Now, you've got a first home, there's going to be issues, right? It's not going to be perfect.
Because of the price range.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But just understand that. And then sometimes, this week controversial, don't always listen to your parents.
Okay.
How many dads come along and just pull the house to bits?
Yeah.
They haven't bought a house in 20 years.
Yeah.
They pull it to bits. The kids are like, we can't do it. We're not going to do it. And they miss out.
Yeah, right. Because Dad said it was no good.
Yeah. And when you come to that, people... If you go and see a property for somebody, the last thing you're probably going to say is it's great. Because if it goes tits up,
it's on you.
Yeah. So you actually say the negative.
Yeah, true.
Right? You do. You just naturally do that. Yeah. So we've had lots of people come along and talk people out of it, and then later on they're like, "Man, Kris, I wish I bought that home." I'm like, "Yeah, hey, look, you went on the advice, and I get that." So hey, I'm not saying don't listen to your dad. That's don't say no. Yeah. But just
love your dad.
Yeah, just do understand that they're trying to protect you.
Yes,
there is that, but just get a builder's report if they're worried about something, because then that will tell you.
Yeah.
And sometimes you might be able to renegotiate, or there's lots of things you can do with that.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, and they're good little tips along the way, aren't they? Like the builder's report might say you need a new roof, and then you can negotiate that in the price.
That's right. Or it might say you're going to need a new roof in 5 years. So you're not going to get a replacement roof. However, you might be able to get a bit off it to counter that or whatever it is. Yeah. Depending on the price and depending on the vendor.
Good advice. Kris, tell us, what advice do you have for sellers in today's market?
So sellers in today's market, choose your agent wisely.
Yes.
Yep. Don't just go for the cheapest commission. Cheapest is not. It's a little bit like when it's your biggest asset, as in your brain, right?
Yeah.
You're going to go to a brain surgeon and there's 3 different prices. You're going to choose the lowest one?
Probably not.
Probably not.
No.
So get to know your agent, see who you feel comfortable with and who you trust, because that's a big thing. Ask around, use Rate My Agent to see what those are, and then entrust in them. Let them guide you through that process. A lot of times people are like, "Oh man, thanks so much." And I'm like, actually, thank you for just letting me do my job.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I told you to do this, you did this. This is where I said we should price it. This is what I thought we should do. This was our marketing method. This was our strategy. And you were like, yes, yes, yes. And now look where we are, right?
Exactly.
So whoever that agent is, I'm not saying it's us, but if you're with that agent and you trust them, then just listen to them and do that with them. And use digital.
Yeah, because they've bought and sold all day long, these agents.
That's right.
And it might be your first time.
We sell hundreds of properties a year.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is what we do all day, every day. And I guess, with digital and video, just make sure it's good.
Yeah.
Good video. The out-of-town buyers that we're seeing look in at the moment is massive.
And that's the only way they can see it.
Yeah. And they need to know not just about the home, but also the area.
Yeah.
So just clarify that.
Yeah. Okay. Good advice. What about the relationship between clients and agents? How has that evolved over the years?
Yeah, well, it's changed a lot from 21 years ago.
Yeah.
To now, like even think of any business, 5-10 years ago, everything's different, and change is just coming so fast. And it's funny, people go, technology and, AI, and you're scared of that and all of that's going to replace you. No, I'm not scared of that at all.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll replace us. The agents that need to be scared is probably the ones that aren't using the technology, right, to make it better. And
they'll get left behind.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But we are a service industry. People like to touch and feel and that side of it. But probably the biggest thing that's changed is how accessible we are.
Yes.
Often I'll get home, 6:30, and then all of a sudden my phone's pinging. My groups that I've got going on, people are there, they've got home from work. So I get that.
Yeah.
So we're a lot more accessible. Where I first started, we did have a cell phone, but people ring at home.
Yeah, your home number.
Yeah, that's right. Or for them to ring my cell phone used to cost them $1.40 a minute.
True, yes. Do you forget those?
Yeah, so we never got as many phone calls as much. Being in this office where I first started, people would ring in a lot into the office, and we'd have a conversation at my desk on the phone, where now it's just there, people email you, and I think people start thinking emails are like texts, like
instant.
Yeah, if you haven't responded in 20 minutes or 30 minutes, it could be a follow-up email or a text or a phone.
Just checking you got my
Yeah, I could be in with a client for an hour and I come out and they've got all three. I'm like, okay, cool, they need to talk to me.
Yeah.
How can I help?
Here I am.
Yeah. But those things have changed immensely.
Yeah. Okay, so Kris, just some fun questions to finish off.
Great.
All right. So, this might be funny. What's one thing most people think real estate agents do all day, but actually don't?
Well, we get up at 10 a.m., right? And that, something like that, and just drink coffee all day. Because I've seen one of the 170 odd agents in New Plymouth. I've seen them at the local coffee shop when they went there. So we're all coffee drinkers.
Same brush.
Yeah, that's it. So we don't actually drink coffee all day in coffee shops.
Okay, that's why it's good.
Maybe some do, but none of my team. Yeah. Maybe they call it, isn't it networking?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, business opportunity. Yeah. What if you weren't in real estate?
Yes.
If you had done a few things before real estate?
Yes.
You're a jet sprint champion.
Yes.
What would you be doing as a career?
Do you know what funny, so I've been asked this before. Do you know what I actually would like to do? And I still want to do it. Yeah. Is I'd be like to fly helicopters.
You'd be good at that.
I don't know how. How do you know I'd be good at that? What's good at that, though?
Because you've been a car man all your life, you've been an engine man,
They just astound me how they can stay in the air. And
you've got great spatial awareness.
Yeah. But I'd love to do that. And I'm not saying I won't in time. But I'd be probably flying helicopters.
That would be pretty amazing. Yeah. Would you do tourist stuff, or would you do like work for Alan Beck doing top,
I think the tourist stuff would be more fun because I am a people person, I suppose. So I like to meet people and have conversations. And I think, if you can help someone have a great experience, which is what we're trying to do in real estate, then it's the same thing. So I think it'd be fun. Yeah.
I think it's a little bit because you do your jet sprints.
Yes.
And so it's kind of small space navigating and stuff. It's just up in the sky, just slightly different.
Yeah, that's right. And both scary. Probably why I like it.
Yeah, adrenaline. Exactly. Now you're Taranaki born and bred.
Yes.
Is there another town in New Zealand you'd move to in a heartbeat?
Probably not.
No.
I like Taranaki.
Yeah.
I did a stint in Auckland for 12 months, 13 months.
Yeah.
Because I always said I'd do 12 months, and then I had to give resignation, which was a month.
Oh, yeah.
And that was through New Zealand Couriers before I came back and got into
Courier in Auckland?
No, I was Auckland operations manager, so I looked after Penrose branch, and it's 90 staff, which was huge, massive learning for me. But for me, it was... I didn't like Auckland.
Just get me out of here.
Get me out of here. I love to visit the place.
Yeah.
Love to leave the place.
Same. We love you, Auckland, but we love Taranaki more.
Yeah, so there. I tell you what, though, I've done a couple of trips for work or with conferences down into Christchurch.
Yeah.
It's beautiful down there.
Yeah.
They've done a really good job. You know, I guess that's the... dreadful what they went through.
Yeah.
But the one benefit is they actually got to design a city.
Yes.
You know, now.
In this age.
Which I think they've done a really good job at.
Yeah.
So that I could probably see, and there's, lots of rivers for jet boating, and you could probably do some helicopter flying down there too.
Enough paddocks for your partner's horses?
Yeah, that's right. I'll let it all. Yeah, plenty of room. Instead of having 5 acres, you probably need 50 acres, there's no grass.
You'll get more involved.
Yeah.
It's not going.
No, won't go there.
All right. So for you,
yes,
beachfront batch, or modern city apartment?
I'd say beachfront batch, just for the fact of I'm an active relaxer.
Yeah.
So being stuck in an apartment, would probably not go well for me.
Yeah.
So at least if it's a beachfront patch, you'd be able to go for a walk or do something and build a fire or whatever you wanted to do.
To surf casting.
Yeah, absolutely. All of
boating.
Yeah, all of that stuff.
Well, Kris, it's been so great spending this time with you, and for our listeners on Lemon Drops to find out a little bit more about you, but also Professionals Real Estate and the amazing job that you guys do within our community. So thank you for your time.
Cool. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, pleasure.